Fine.
Well, y'all, so me and Lige just got off our train, hour-long train ride.
Dude, so much for 15 minutes.
But we're here. Look at us. We're here in the state of the country, whatever this is, of London.
England.
London. No, we're in London though.
It's the country of England though.
Okay.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, February 13th, 2023, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I apologize ahead of time. It's a voiceover day. I am dealing with a cold that I got from my son from last week. So yeah, I hope all of you are dealing with this lovely winter and aren't getting too sick. I feel like this is my third cold. But anyways, the Duggars have fled the world. Well, they've fled to Rome. And there's been a lot of articles about how James and his sisters and everyone is breaking free, but it's my belief that this is more Duggar deflection. And there's been some criticism for Mr. James Duggar because of his trip to London, where people believe that his lack of homeschool education by his mom is showing up loud and clear because he apparently didn't know that London was in the country of England. And then we're going to talk about how this whole trip seems to be coinciding with a lot of bad publicity the Duggars are getting because of Jinger Duggar published 2 weeks ago. So James Duggar and his siblings are sent to Rome, and this is on par for some Duggar deflection. Let's get started. Before we do, can you do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed. Turn the notifications on so you know when I go live and new content loads, and make sure to share this video with your friends and leave a comment if you have something to say. So this past few weeks has been very busy. There's been a lot that's come out. Obviously, Jinger has been on a book tour. There's been a lot of perspectives. And then late last week, an article came out about her current church that does not paint the situation very favorably. John MacArthur's counseling and his discipline of women and the overall misogyny that's within the church is being called out as by a former elder of the church, claiming that her current church that she promotes in her book, Grace Community Church, is not safe for women or children. Despite that, her book became a New York Times bestseller, and she continues to promote the book and has not responded to any of the allegations that have come out about Grace Community Church. It's pretty common that John MacArthur's supporters will denounce this and claim it's just bitter women, which we know is probably false. Anyways, let's talk about what's been going on with the Duggars. So anytime the Duggars get into a, I don't know, pickle, they like to run away. And this is not uncommon. They've done this multiple times before. So when Josh Duggar's scandal broke, they actually fled and they went to stay at somebody's property. Jinger wrote about this in her book. The news broke and publicity was so intense that they just got out of Dodge. And, you know, I can understand when you have something break like with Josh happening. I get it. But this time around, the publicity isn't necessarily scandalous. It's more so they're calling out the cult, the IBLP that she was a part of, and that the family members are still members of. And now, as the rhetoric is increasing that the IBLP is dangerous, is a cult, has horrible, damaging teachings for women and children, it appears that Jim Bob has sent his kids out to Rome for an impromptu visit to the Holy Land. So James Duggar started sharing photographs and videos on his Instagram, and then he also shared a video on his YouTube channel called Impromptu Trip to London. And he, in the video, said that they were going on a last-minute trip to Rome. Isn't it ironic that they make a last-minute decision to go out of the country in the middle of Jinger's press tour? I don't think there's anything coincidental about that. So while James and his buddy Elijah were touring, James's lack of geographical education or even knowledge about London, England was well apparent. They didn't know like landmarks, basic landmarks. They didn't really know anything about the city of London. They didn't know about Big Ben. He and Elijah seemed sort of like a deer in headlights when they were walking around, not being able to really recognize what they were looking at. Unfortunately, the IBLP does not have the best education, and I wouldn't be surprised that a lot of the European history would be completely left out of this. So, some of the fans on his Instagram or on the videos were not super impressed. There was a lot of comments on there, like one person said homeschooling apparently didn't cover European geography. Another person said, looks like the family is trying to distract the public from the truth about Ginger's book. Someone else said, I truly despair. I can't watch a whole video when someone doesn't even know the slightest thing about the country. And anyone who doesn't know London is the capital city and that they are in England, well, what can you say? I say this as tongue-in-cheek, but good grief, don't they teach Americans anything other than USA, USA, USA? Who left that last comment? I will say that yes, most of us that go to public school and have college educations know that London is the capital. We also know that the UK composes England and Ireland and Scotland. And so most of us know geography and most of us had to take world history, and a lot of us in college took European history. So yeah, no, this is specifically a homeschooling issue with the IBLP. Not all homeschool is bad. I just want to put that out there. Initially, the taglines from, the Daily Rags were James Duggar flees and he's breaking rules, but he's not. So basically, he is there with all of his buddies. Actually, he's with his sister Jana, her friend Laura, their buddy Joseph Schumacher. There is Katie and Jed, and yeah. So basically, they are in Rome right now, running around, and they are with everyone that's still a part of the IBLP. So I saw another article that basically said that Jana is with her rumored new boyfriend in Rome. Joseph Schumacher is 100% not Jana's boyfriend. He's a family friend, and his family members are actually pretty high up in the IBLP. He actually has done like evictions for properties in Oklahoma. So his family has a lot of pull, and he has been like in charge of like managing different IBLP properties, but he is definitely not Jana's boyfriend. Anytime Jana is seen with any man that may slightly be single and unknown to the public, they assume it's her boyfriend, which he is not. Jana is also not breaking free by going on this trip because she is with all of her siblings who are there with her. And, it's interesting. Some of these siblings aren't there. Jason is not with them, and Joy and Austin didn't go. Obviously, they have kids, and Joy is pregnant. You also don't see Josiah and Lauren, nor are Joseph and Kendra with. So it seems like the ones that have fewer kids, Katie and Jed are there, and I'm assuming they brought their youngest. Katie is also pregnant. But it seems like the ones that are still the most under Jim Bob's thumb in terms of like his level of control are on this trip. And it could be just a way for Jim Bob to send the kids away so that they have content to put out that is in opposition of Ginger's books. There's always going to be sort of this counterbalance of like, we need to show the cult that everything is just fine. And so we're totally not bothered by what's going on with Ginger's book. We're so unbothered that we're going to go take a random trip to Rome. We're going to make sure that we're going to post it all over Instagram to show you how happy we are, even though a lot of us haven't posted on the gram in a long time. And suddenly we're going to start posting photographs of Jana, who you guys haven't seen in months. But hey, Jana's with us too, and she's doing great. And she's free, unlike Ginger wants you to believe that, she's under our control. So it's a lot of Duggar deflection. Now, on their walking around of, London, it makes me more sad than anything, really, that they just know so little about the world and how sheltered they are. This could be, you'd think like this would be a great opportunity for them to break free and have a level of independence, but unfortunately they're with people that are like staunch IBLP believers. Like Joseph Schumacher is like literally one of the most trusted friends of the Duggars. He is on LLCs for this family. So this is someone that like literally Jim Bob trusts with his life. You also have Laura there who works for the IBLP and has been like doing embassy media for years. She also worked for Gothard and traveled with Gothard and was with Gothard. So Laura and Joseph being with them is surely an indication that they're still very much entrenched in this cult. So this is just more standard protocol. So Jana is not breaking free, James is not breaking free, and they are not breaking any rules by being on this trip. Although that's what the media would like you to believe. So Ginger's book reached the New York Times bestseller list last week. Now, John MacArthur and his church is a part of this book. They actually have their ghostwriter of their chief communications officer of the Master's Seminary is her ghostwriter on this. He's not even really a ghostwriter because she tells you the book is co-authored by him. And he works for the Master's Seminary and he does sermons for them. So it's really just like the book is written by Corey Williams with Ginger's stories woven in. But that is difficult because now the church that she's talking about as being like this very progressive church that has all walks of life and that women aren't told that they can't have jobs and they can wear pants and this and that. You know, it's unfortunate because it's contradictory to everything that's on Grace Community Church's website. You see that women are not allowed to, John MacArthur would prefer that women not have jobs. He's been known to fire women from his schools, from his administration, send his secretaries home and fire them because he doesn't believe that women should hold any authority over any man. So there's a lot of, I would say, a lot of similarities between these two. And I would say the article that was put out by Christianity Today, which I brought your attention to last week, is a good reflection of sort of the teachings. There's also been videos that have been posted where you can see how people are taught about counseling in their biblical counseling. So John MacArthur does not believe at all in psychological counseling. And instead, he directs people to go to his counselors who are not certified. They're literally church members that go through a class and then they can become a biblical counselor. And then these counselors are telling them their advice. And the advice is generally, you can never get divorced. You can never do this. You can never do that. Women have to stay in a marriage. Women have to submit and obey. Women need to respect their husbands. It's never about safety for the wife. And it's a lot of times siding with the abusive husbands.
I went into Reformed theology as led by my husband after leaving the IBLP. My husband learned about it at church, and also through publications like R.C. Sproul's Table Talk magazine, John Piper, and John MacArthur, which is where Ginger goes to church now. I called them the Johns. While the IBLP focuses on biblical principles and not so much a denomination, its legalism is very external. Lots of rule, lots of mentorship. But Calvinist theology just drove it all inward. It wasn't less control, it just wore more modern clothes. The reformers seemed so reasonable, and they enjoyed life. John Piper talks about hedonism for God. They wear pants and they drink alcohol. They feast the goodness of God. Were it not for the way that their harsh tulip theology manifests, it might have been a good thing. But women are shamed into staying in abuse. It's a prison more vast than a minute reel can contain.
So a lot of women have come forward now sharing their stories, and there's been a huge media, there's a lot of places covering this. The story has now hit the Sun, where, women that are being threatened that want to leave their husbands are being threatened by the church and being threatened by the counselors and by pastors and elders. So it's not a good time it's like a unfortunate time because she's promoting this book and she's denouncing the IBLP, saying I'm really free, but the teachings at the church are not at all freedom, really. So long story short, as more and more is coming out about that, I'd encourage you to check out my Instagram or my Facebook, where I've been sharing some videos and some information about John's church. It is a very deep rabbit hole, and this is a very problematic church. And when people ask me, Katie, how is it that you can support Ginger leaving the IBLP but be critical of John MacArthur? It's more like she is on a journey, and if she is really going to really wake up, she's going to have to at one point realize that she hasn't really changed that much. They've just allowed her some of the outward things that Gothard didn't allow at MacArthur's church, but the theology is very similar in terms of their beliefs about women and children. And on the same breath, you can say, I support her leaving the IBLP, but please don't follow her to this new church because it's equally as problematic. Hope that makes sense. As well as my job is to make sure to share with you every side of the story and not just say, yay, Ginger, you're free, when the truth is she's likely not very free. And this book is co-authored by the church members. Her husband works at the church. She's using her husband as like, my husband is the best pastor ever. And don't even get me started. We're going to go into some of Jeremy's sermons, which will show you just how unfree Ginger still is. So Duggar deflection continues. The IBLP is bad, but so is Grace Community Church, allegedly. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.